it says no, 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 no. Just no, 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 no. And every time I see him with you, my heart sounds like Shia LaBeouf too. No, 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 no. Try your love if it says no, 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 no. Just no, 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 no. And every time I see him with you, my heart sounds like Shia LaBeouf too. No, 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 no.
came to save me. Came in an Uber, left in a Mercedes. Star, Hollywood scars. She bad at being good, but she good at breaking hearts. Drugs on her counter, liquor in her car. Living life on the edge, bodies in her backyard. This is for the times I cried, the times you lied. You broke my heart, I don't know why. Thought I treated you right, you were my whole life. Now you hitting my line, but I'm doing just fine. I'll just stick with your memories. Yeah, yeah. I'll just stick with your memories. Yeah, yeah. I'll just stick with your memories. With your memories. You never fell for me. All your actions contradicting what you telling me. Got your memories. You never fell for me. All your actions contradicting what you telling me. Why you gotta lie? You lying all the time. Why you gotta lie? Lying all the time. Yeah. This is for the times I cried, the times you lied. You broke my heart, I don't know why. Thought I treated you right, you were my whole life. Now you hitting my line, but I'm doing just fine. I'll just stick with your memories. Yeah, yeah. I'll just stick with your memories. Yeah, yeah. I'll just stick with your memories. It's about 503s killing me. You've left me all alone. I still can't sleep, I can hardly breathe. I'm dying on my own. My heart's in pieces, can we just reset everything we've done? It's about 503s killing me. And I'm the storm that meets the moon. I'm the sun that will not move. Who you think you are? Who you think you
Welcome everybody to RSCast, as we're here to look back on week number 3. I'm Tavish and I'm joined here by the GOATs, of course, Buddha and Kingsman Gas. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Definitely didn't wake up like an hour and a half ago, but we're here for the RSCast, the weekly Monday stream that we all love. And some players, they love to rise up in the chat, with a little bit of talk about how their league play went. But Kingsman, how you doing tonight?
Good as always. I woke up about 10 hours ago and still is probably as unprepared as you. But you know what? We go with it. Players looking back a good week for week 3. Obviously, we're going into Christmas break now. So we're going to see where teams are looking at towards Christmas break. Whether we're seeing teams needing to push forward or teams that are very relaxed going into the Christmas break.
Well, unlike you two guys, I've been awake for a little bit over 10 hours, so I should be prepared for this stuff. But, I agree with you, Kingsman. Let's take a look at how everyone did in this past week, as we're gonna take a look at the fixtures, and we're not the fixtures, the results of last week. And we're gonna start with Prospect in Glacis. And I think, Buddha, I can give this one to you.
Oh, you can indeed. Well, starting off here, we've got Rogue continuing their win streaks. This week, they went 6-2. They got a 3-1 there onto Obscurity and a 3-1 onto Dwarfs, making them have their 2 wins of a series of a week. But we still got 2 more teams who won both of their series. The second one is going to be Fearless Echo going 3-1 against Palmists and also going 3-1 onto Kindling there. And obviously, the final team who went 6-2 as well joining them is going to be Tartarus. 3-1 onto Dwarfs and a 3-1 onto Terror. Tartarus get 2 results onto 2 teams that didn't really have the best of weeks. I know Dwarfs went 2-6, but I'm pretty sure Kingsman could back it. Pretty sure they had an FA series and there's roster changes going on there. So they just need some time. But for Terra, this was very surprising. Obviously, I don't want to leak the standings, but from where they were previous weeks, they were quite a high team and they really didn't have a good week this week.
Yeah, that's gonna be a difficult one for Terra, like you said. But let's take a quick look at Ignis. Kingsman, what do you have for me?
Well, I have a good batch of results through the board. 2 sweeps, 1 for Newborn and 1 for Limousine. Caro not having the best start. They go 1-7 this week, getting swept by Limousine and a 3-1 by Micah Faction. But one team rising to the top of their results this week will be Limousine, getting a 7-1. Obviously, 4-0 Caro. And they get that 3-1 onto Anubis as well. A good few draws across the board. Hot Metal getting 2 of them and Cardinals getting 2 of them. So very, very competitive for those game wins. Only 4, I think it's 4 or 5 not being draws in this Ignis conference. So very excited to see how the standings look going into the Christmas break.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be something. Only 2 sweeps in that conference last week. And like I said, most of them being draws. But let's take a look at the standings. Buddha, how are the standings in the Glaciers conference?
Well, sitting up in first is going to be Jabatus in there, going 17-7. Obviously, they still got a win and a draw. Didn't really pick out them too much with their series, but they still, they're continuing that dominance. But Rogue, they're going to be joining them in that second spot now, going 17-7. Also, only 1 goal difference separating those 2 teams. I don't know if they've played each other. If they have, then it would be their head-to-head to separate them. But in third, it is going to be Terra. They've gone down 2 spots. Actually, they're now 16-8. Also, they had an FF win last week, so you could say that favors them here to be where they are. But still, it's still a team who can compete in the prospect here. It's got Yannick on the roster. We know he's guaranteed top 6 just alone. But in fourth, we're going to see Fearless Echo there on 15, and we're going to start to see that spread. We see Tartarus in 5th, 3 wins behind, going 12-12 in that mid pack there. But Parmis, Serene, and Dwarves all going to be staying in their positions. Parmis are going to be the ones to be at 11-13. We see Serene Taisho 10-14, but they did pick up a draw on the Terra, so maybe looking up there. The Dwarves 8-16, and then we see Obscurity and Kindling down at the bottom on 7 wins. Both teams have not won a series, but talk about not winning a series. Parmis, they've not won a series yet. They are the drawing merchants in 6th.
Yeah, and with only being the drawing merchants, they're in the top, and definitely the top of Glaciers really close with 17 and 16 win each. Let's see if Ignis is the same as that. Kingsman, go ahead.
Well, all movement is found here. Newborn and Limousine rise to the top, taking spots away from Hot Metal. Newborn moving up 3. They've had 2 sensational weeks, and they go 20-4 going into Christmas break. It is absolutely sensational. Limousine 1 game behind. Any other conference, they'd be top. Any other tier, they'd be top. But they sit behind Newborn for now. Obviously, behind them, both 2-4, you have Hot Metal 15-9, Cardinals 14-10. Both dropping weeks as they both fall forward. Micah Faction, though, and Parasite making moves up the table. 13-11 for Micah, just above Equilibrium, and Parasite 10-14. So they'll be looking still good in 6th, but looking to push away from Alter, Trickery, and Anubis, who fall down a bit down the table. But down right at the bottom, a series behind 9th, is Caro. They are yet to draw or win a game, so they're really going to be hoping for the after Christmas buff.
Yeah, Ignis definitely looking a lot more with the bigger results than Glaciers. Glaciers are a lot more compact with all the teams now moving together. And here, just 1 week of results and everything is shattered already. And, let's take a quick look at the fixtures for after our Christmas break. As everyone knows, we're going to be 2 weeks on a hold here. And after that, we got more than enough action. And let's take a first look at Glaciers.
Yeah, look at here. I mean, we've already got Kindling versus Serene Taisho. Obviously, Kindling being in that bottom spot, but they also play Obscurity as well. So for Kindling, their first week back after that break, they've got a really big week to, break out and, get some wins under their belts. They've only got 3 draws, so maybe they can find something there. But we've always got those matchups as well. Obviously, mid-table teams, looking to fight out to kind of see if they can push up into those standings and start to make a separation for those play-in spots for the likes of, I believe we've got Tartarus. Obviously, they do have Jabatus to play, a top team, so it's going to be tough for them there, but they do play Serene as well in that mid-table area, so it's going to be a good week for them if they could just go positive. But also, we have Palmis going up against Terra. That will be a good series to watch as well. And the final one that I wanted to pick out as well was Terra going up against Rogue. Second and third, that's literally going to be a battle to see who can, hold top 2 with Jabatus if they keep their results going.
Yeah, Terra Rogue is definitely going to be a spicy one. Terra and Palmis as well. Hopefully we can see one of those 2 on stream in the new year. Kingsman, what do you think about the fixtures for Ignis Conference?
Well, you have some matchups for sure, teams to look forward to. Newborn Hot Metal, first versus third. Newborn looking to push forward, Hot Metal looking to catch up. And then 9th versus 10th, just under that, Anubis Caro. Caro will be looking for their first win or even first draw, and Anubis will be looking to push further towards Parasite in 6th place. But a crucial week, I must say, for Limousine as they play Altar and Trickery, 7th and 8th. People will be thinking they shouldn't be dropping games, but it's a series is where they could drop some games and they need to keep their focus up. But also big game, 5th versus 8th, Microfaction Trickery. Microfaction is starting to pick up good form recently. So I want to see how they progress and maybe show themselves as a team fighting for top 4.
Well, a lot of interesting matchups after our Christmas break in prospect. But, let's move on to a little bit of the tougher boys, the Challenger. And let's start again with the Khaleesi's. Buddha, what did you pick off?
Well, to start it off, we've got Elves. They go 7-1, almost going 8-0, but they get 1 sweep, which is going to be a 4-0 onto Neptunium, a big result for them. Neptunium, they've been around the bottom mark all season long, but everyone knows they are still a tough roster, so that's a very good result for them. And their second result was a 3-1 onto Orcus as well. Making a 7-1 week, that's a statement to make, especially when you see the standings as well of how they've been so far. But the other teams to do well as well in this week, Serene Yamato, we see them go 5-3. They got a 2-2 onto Eclipse, respectable team in that mid-table area in the previous week. So 2-2, you could be happy with that. But they get a 3-1 as well onto Spark, making Serene Yamato go into that positive week above that 4-4 kind of benchmark area. So it's a good week for Serene there. But the other team we picked out as well, also going positive, is obviously Fearless Delta going 5-3. They only got 2-2 onto Neptunium. They couldn't do what quite Elves did. They were just a stronger team, Elves are, for Neptunium. But they also got a 3-1 onto Redeem. And I just want to pick out Redeem. Voice crack. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, good, okay. Good. I just woke up, right? I don't want to hear it. But as I was going to pick up anyway, Redeem, I just wanted to pick out this roster. Obviously, I got to watch this series. Obviously, I don't know if Redeem's been playing this team all season long, but the fact that they only have the amount of game wins they have when you see the standings, it's very questionable. It's actually a tough roster, and they play so well. There's just very little things they need to work on. But Elves, Yamato, and Delta all going positive weeks for them.
Yeah, Elves definitely looking dangerous with a 7-1 week, like you said. Kingsman, what about the results in the Ignis Conference?
We talk about teams looking dangerous. Mischief will give you that. A 4-0 onto Kadeho, the only sweep in Ignis this week, and a 3-1 onto Masai. They are really proving who are the team this week. Well, obviously a team everyone's talking about, Apprentices. 6-2 week, they get a 3-1 onto Primordial, a 3-1 onto Nezuko. Not bad results, but a lot of wins and losses traded between these teams. Shrine going 5-3. That is, considering the last week's standings, a good regain week for them. Clearly, B-Shake has done something right in the Challenger department to push them through. Obviously, Feather getting 6-2 as well. Lots of 3-1s across the board. Only 2 draws and 1 sweep. So Well, absolutely massive week for some of these teams, and we want to see how the standings play out.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. Definitely a lot of interesting results. Only 2 teams going 7-1, and the rest a lot of 3-1 results or tie results. But Buddha, how are the standings in Glaciers after that week?
Well, the only team who won both series in week 3 are sitting in first place, Elves, at 17 wins, with that 2 games advantage onto Serene Yamato, who are in second on 15. I mean, they've done some work, they've done some wonders to, climb up the standings through the week, so Serene Yamato well deserved there. But in third place is going to be Oracles. They are a team that have dropped down from their positions. They're going to be on 14 wins. They're tied with Fearless Delta. I believe Oracles win that head-to-head on beating Delta, so they will hold that third spot tied with Delta on 14 wins. But after that, there's another tiebreaker as well. We've got Pardus and Eclipse in that 5th and 6th spot on 12 wins. Not too sure if they're head-to-head or it's just goal difference overall. Either way, it's in favour for Pardus there if they've not played each other. But, that's your top 6 teams heading for those play-ins area way later in the league play. But Spark, pretty close there in 7th on 11 wins, only 1 behind to close in on Eclipse, and then Orcus will follow up with 10 of their own, 1 behind Spark. And then at the bottom, we're going to see Neptunium in 9th on 9 wins, a tough week for them. I believe they only went 2-6, but then Redeem in 10th, have not drawn or won a series so far. They've taken 1 game in every series so far.
Yeah, Redeem being the only team who didn't move in that conference. Let's see how Ignis is doing. Kingsman, what can you tell me?
Well, Apprentices keeping their charge at the top of the table, 19-5. Very good result, there we go. And Feather also moving up, 17-7. And well, it's looking very good. Both teams unbeaten so far. But Mischief now, they had a 7-1 week and they will benefit from it. 15-9 even going into the Christmas break, not bad. 2 teams also not doing badly, Masai and Nezuko gang. Even though I know Masai will be kicking them, because I believe they were the team, one of the teams to lose. I think they got beat 3-1 by Mischiefs in their charge up the table. So I'm sure results have gone better their way. They'd be a bit higher up. But below them we have Kadeho and Crusaders, along with Parthenae, all lurking around that 6th spot. Even Primordial, who are on 8 wins at the minute. And Shrine, even though they've had a very good recovery week, they do still sit in last, 7-17. But it's looking good for them.
Yeah, and once again, Challenger standings. All teams are so close to each other. One week of, weird results to call it, can definitely shift everything. And let's take a look at the fixtures for after that Christmas break. And let's take a first look at Glacies.
Yeah, I mean, we see 9th and 10th again. We see Redeem going up against Neptunium. A big series there for Redeem to, see if they can close that gap down. Because if Redeem lose that and lose their other series, and they're going to start falling behind there, so it's a big week for them. We've also got Elves going up against Oracles, a top 3 fight there. Either team winning that series can shift the whole top 3 part for them. And then we also have Serene Yamato going up against Fearless Delta, 2nd versus 4th. So in the top 4, you've got every single team playing one of the other top 4. So there could be some major shifts there happening in the standings after the Christmas break, depending on the results. But we've got to shine some light to those mid-table teams. We've got Pardus. They will face up against Spark. Pardus are one of those teams who could climb their way into that top 4. So they're going to be looking for something there. But Spark, I'm pretty sure that they will give a good fight, because they'll be wanting to get the results they want, because they have to play Orcus as well, who are right on their tail. So there's a lot of close matchups for week number 4 in Glacies.
Yeah, again, a lot of good matchups, like you said. Let's take a quick look at the Ignis conference.
Well, there are some big games to be played in this. One that catches my feather have Masai. Masai not having the greatest week, but it's still 2nd versus 4th. Masai have the Christmas break to rethink anything that has happened. But at the top, we have Apprentices, have Kadeho and Mischief. Mischief being in 3rd place, looking to push towards the top. They did get a 7-1 week. They'll be looking to keep momentum. And Kadeho, they have Masai and Apprentices. 2 teams above them, 2 teams that are on a charge up the table. So, a big week for them if they want to keep 6th place here. But around the bottom, you have Shrine, obviously. They are in a league of their own at the minute. They have Mischief and Nezuko. And Mischief gonna need to pull out a result there. Nezuko as well, because Shrine, looking pretty good at the minute.
And again, I think I can keep repeating this at every fixture that we're gonna see some amazing matchups, and hope we can obviously see a lot of them on stream. But it's time to move on already. Let's take a quick look at the rival conference and the results of the past week. And again, we're gonna start with Glacies first.
I don't want to be biased, but I had to pick up Fearless Charlie. They were the only team to win both series, and also they've had some terrible week 1 and 2. So it was great to finally see them on the winning trot there. They got a 4-0 onto Resolve, and it was with Potato from Challenger. So just want to shout out Potato there, and then they also get a 3-1 onto Mystics as well, making a 7-1 week for them. Finally going positive. And another team I picked out, it wasn't surely on the big overall result week, but it's just of who they faced. We had Onka. They went 4-4, but they played Nightfall and Ember, drawing both series. Now, if you're around RSCast last week, you would have seen how close these teams are in the standings. Obviously, you'll see it in a little bit. But for Onka, this is a great week, especially when you're playing tough opponents like that. And also, I'll call out the other sweep as well. Mystics, they got their 4-0 onto Erebos, and Erebos only got a 2-2 onto Norns. Erebos started off really, really strong, but now it is starting to decline downhill. And we see, 6 draws here in Glacies, so it's looking close.
Yeah, 6 draws in Glacies, and if we're gonna take a look at Ignis, I can't see any draw in that list.
Nope, Glacies have taken all the draws. Well, at least wins or losses it will be for these teams this week, as Arena Tribe, Sentinels, Yoruba, Montbelliard all take sweeps, but Sanctum, being on the receiving end of 2 of them, they go 0-8 this week. They are sent to the bottom of the table. Arena Tribe 7-1, rising to the top. And well, it's a brilliant week for them, but not a brilliant week for Sanctum, as I mentioned. Obviously 0-8, obviously Arena Tribe team at the top at the minute, but also getting swept by Yoruba. So they could have done better. Montbelliard also getting a sweep onto Disorder. That's the side that have seen a lot of roster changes this week. But Disorder did also manage to pull a shock result against Disorder against Journeyman. They pulled out a 3-1. So they managed to get that. I believe that might be their first. It is their first win of the season. We'll see how it shakes up the standings.
Yeah, and now I'm just curious. Let's take a look at those standings, because it's gonna be interesting, and we're gonna start with Glacies first.
Well, in top spot, it's going to be Ember. They actually rise up to that top spot there on 17 wins. Only 1 ahead of the almighty Nightfall. They're just going to secure themselves in second. Not going to move at all. Only one of the 2 teams to do so there on 16 wins, though. So still in that top 2 fight with Ember. But in third is going to be Erebos. As I mentioned, they had a really tough start. I believe they went 8-0 in week 1. And, well, now they're going to slowly decline here into third on 14, but they're still in that top half of the table and looking good. But Onka on the rise, they got up to fourth. They're going to be on 14 wins alongside Erebos. But there's going to be another team on 14 wins. It's going to be Norns as well. They actually go down into fifth, but they're still, 3-way tie for third. You can't be complaining. But in the 6th spot, we're going to see Fearless Charlie rising up from 9th. They're going to be on 12 wins there, maybe looking to join in that, maybe for a 4-way tiebreaker. You never know. But talk about tiebreakers. There's another 3-way tiebreaker here in 7th. We've got Mystics. They go up into 7th on 10 wins. Serene Meiji, they'll go down into 8th on 10. Same with Europe, they'll go down into 9th on 10 as well. And a couple of good series behind. We're going to see Resolve in 10th. But we all know Jambi is vibing in Rival. But if they really wanted to climb, I'm sure they'll start to take it seriously. But Resolve, you never know. Could be a dark horse.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how they're gonna do after in the new year. Maybe the 2-week break is gonna give them new energy to bounce back, because they're definitely a little bit behind on the rest. And let's take a look at how the Ignis conference is doing.
Well, Arena Tribe and Sentinels still close, but Arena Tribe pulling away. They don't want to be around Sentinels. Sentinels closer to Yoruba. 3-game gap. Arena Tribe might be looking comfortable, but behind them, Yoruba and Raju, however you say it, 16, 14, 12. 2 games in between each other, but Raju are also drawn with Mirage and Montbelliard. So that makes up your top 6, all having interesting weeks here. And obviously, win-loss for both of them, and well, it's going to prove dividends as Ash got a win and a loss, but they sit 7th. And Journeyman received 2 losses this week as they somehow climb up the table still in Disorder. Finally climb off that bottom spot after Sanctum's absolutely horrendous week.
Yeah, we finally see a little bit of movement there at the bottom. And, to see another tiebreaker between 3 teams here. Already 2 in the Glacier Conference, now 1 here as well in Ignis. It's just interesting to see how close these teams actually are. And now let's take a look at the fixtures for the rival in week number 4. Buddha, what do you think of the next week?
Well, we got Serene Meiji, a team who haven't won a series yet. They've got 4 draws. They've got a pretty interesting week coming back. They'll play Fearless Charlie, who are just 2 wins ahead of them, and they also will be playing the side Resolve, who, a couple series behind, but still, for Serene, maybe looking to get their first series win in that one there, and maybe look for some damage there in the mid-table. But we've got some other matchups as well. So you've got Ember probably looking to hold on to that first spot, and they play Erebos, so that's going to be a big series there for Erebos. That's definitely a series to kind of get themselves back into it. The last 4 series, they've not won a game. It's only been week 1 that they've won a series. So if they want to, be a team in contention, they've got to get back on the track. So Ember series, that's definitely a way to do it. But they also will be playing the side Nightfall, who are 2nd place. So for Erebos, it's a very, very tough week. But if you want to be a top table team, you've got to be able to at least take results onto those top teams and not obviously fumble and lose both. But obviously around the mid-table area, we've got Onka as well, kind of looking to come into that top 3. They'll be playing Uranum and the side of Fearless Charlie. So for Onka, they're going to have a pretty big week for themselves as well.
So 2 teams who have absolutely no pressure on their shoulders going into that next week. But let's take a look at how the Ignis fixtures are going.
There's one that'll catch everyone's eye. Arena Tribe Sentinels, versus 2nd. Arena Tribe will look to carve a gap in between 1st and 2nd. And well, they couldn't do it better. They have Raju 4th and Sentinels 2nd. 2nd and 4th, this will prove them as the top dogs, or just maybe got a very nice start. But Journeyman, they had a very tough last week. They can bounce back as they play Sanctum, but they have a tough game in Mirage. They are 12 and 12 right now, Mirage, as they're going to be looking for a big result. But Sanctum haven't got it easy as their other game is Sentinels. Sentinels, if they get beaten by Arena Tribe, will be looking for a redemption game. So obviously it depends when those games are scheduled. Obviously not yet. Obviously there's a 2-week break before the next one. But all of these fixtures across the board are going to have some pretty decent results that might change the table dramatically.
Yeah, and again, another team that's absolutely no pressure on. Sanctum, that's got to be a killer week for them. And hopefully we can see them triumphant, but it's got to prove very difficult with those matchups, definitely against the number 2. But now moving on into the elite results for last week. Buddha, which one did you pick out?
Well, we've got Goatsman Gas on the Holger side going 6 and 2. They got a 3-1 victory over Darkness. We won't say who played the series, but it's a 3-1 win, Kingsman? Oh, a win's a win.
Yeah, exactly.
But they also got their 3-1 win onto myself, Fearless Bravo. So either way for Holdra, it's a very big week for them. But another team who went big as well, Resonant. They've been a team winning week after week, and they've done it again. Onto Darkness going 3-1. Darkness forced into another negative week. But they only got a draw onto Profits. We know Profits are a top table team in contention. So a 2-2 between Resonant and Profits. It's just as expected. You always expect those top teams to take draws. If there's a win, that's, you start to see maybe the favourable teams. But either way for Resonant, it's a very good week for them. Fearless Bravo, only team with their sweep onto Serene there. But other than that, we barely see too many draws. I believe there's only 3. Apart from the Resonant game, it was Thanatos and Blaze, and then Serena Zucchi up against Tigris. And that was one of the series I was looking forward to, but it just ended in a 2-2 clash.
Well, you can't have everything that you want, but one thing we're definitely seeing is that the higher the level, then we see more dominant wins instead of the tie results that we've seen in the lower tiers. But now let's take a look at Ignis.
Yes, only 1 draw, but I will pick out a negative first. Andrew, they were near top of the table last week, 1 and 7. as Megamen storm through 7-1, get a 4-0 sweep onto them. They are absolutely having no problems. 3-1 Embry as well. Vanguard's obviously getting that 4-0 onto Zulu. But Zulu do regain as they got a 3-1 onto Temple. But they're not having the greatest season either. Another Sanctuary team potentially not having the greatest start as they get beaten 3-1 by Bladesmiths, who cruise into a 6-2 week, beating Deceptions. But all round, all teams looking like they either get 2 wins or get a win and a draw, or just a win and a loss. It's all over the place. I can't wait to see how the standings shape up.
Yeah, and I agree with you there, and I'm definitely now interested in how Megaman Cult and Anju are in the standings. But we have to wait a little bit for that. First, we have the Glacies standings.
Well, in first, we have the undefeated Resonant in first place, 4 series wins and 2 draws, and that'll be 17 wins to hold that first place spot for now. They take it back after dropping the second last week, but in second, it will be Fearless Bravo dropping down 1 spot. They're into 16 wins, but they're not the only team there. There's going to be Profits as well. They climb up into third on that tiebreaker with Bravo on 16. But hey, it's not over yet. We've got 4th place Thanatos on 15. They rise up the standings as well, making that whole top 4 fight close. But hey, I say top 4. It's top 5. We see Holdra. They may have moved down into 5th there, but they're still in that big contention fight. Literally, one series can really shake things up here in the top 5. And we're starting to maybe see the separation here from the bottom half, unless, you know, Saturnia step things up next week and Blaze. But talk about Saturnia in 6th. They did move up into that position on 11 wins, alongside with Blaze, which personally for me, this team has upset me. You know, I thought this was going to be a lot stronger, but it's just a tough start for them. But in 8th, we do see Tigris there as well on 8 wins. They'll be climbing up alongside with Serena Zucchi in 9th on 6 wins, all the way at the bottom with Darkness as well, who have won a series. I was going to say they've not won one, but they've had 5, you know, major losses. So Darkness and Serene, they're going to be looking to climb back.
Yeah, a lot of movement in the Glacies standings for Elite. And now, let's see if Ignis is also moving. So far, it does look like it. Kingsman, what can you tell me about it?
One team sticks in their position, and that is Zulu. But Anarchy and Vanguard profit off of Anju's losses. First and second, they will stick the fight close. But a team that have risen basically from out of nowhere, Megaman Cult, 16 and 8 going into this. They had a shaky start, but they're back now, only 1 loss. And Anju, obviously, horrific week for them, but it leaves them only 4th, same as Bladesmiths, who are 5th. 13-13, very close to the top 3, but behind them you have Zulu and Embry, both looking to climb further. Obviously, Embry climbing up off of Deception, who are in 8th. Scorch, who are in 9th, as they get their second draw of the season. And Temple haven't not won or drawn a series yet, so obviously all 3 wins this season. They cannot seem to win this second game.
Yeah, we see it, like I said, Anju dropping down, Megaman Cult moving up. A little bit of a gap there, so curious to see how that is going to play out in the next week. And while we're talking about it, let's see what the matchups are for the next week. And again, we're going to start with Glacies. Buddha, which one did you pick?
Well, by looking at this, Resonant probably looking to keep first after that Christmas break. You know, they're playing some low-table teams. They're probably going to look for a double positive week there. And the reason I say they're going to probably keep first is because there are some matchups here beneath them. We have Profits going up against Holdra. That's a big series there. Literally, whoever wins that series is probably going to, you know, bring that little bit of a lead in that gap. But we also have the sides of Fearless Bravo. They're going to be playing against Thanatos. Thanatos, a team looking to stay up there as well. So some big top dog matchups there. But we'll go down a little bit to give some light to the other teams. We see Blaze. Obviously, they play Resonant, but the one that's going to pick out is them going up against Darkness. For Blaze, that's a series you have to win. Unless, obviously, Darkness, new roster, it could be something completely different. So, for Darkness, it's a massive week. Obviously, they play a really top team, Profits, but also they also play the sides of Blaze. And with the new roster coming in, you know, it's going to set the expectations. Are they a mid-table team? Are they contending for that top spot? We don't know, but that's what the league plays for. We will find out soon enough. But there's a Christmas break. You never know. We could see upsets. Some players could come back really cold.
Yeah, and that's obviously what we're hoping for. And, you know, Resonant, they're having, like you said, a pretty good week for them to solidify themselves even better in the top. But if we're gonna take a look at Ignis, I can already see a couple matchups that I'm very interested in. And Kingsman, do you agree with me? Do you have the same mind?
Well, I'll say them and we'll see if we do. I'm looking Megumin, Anarchy. Anarchy in first, unbeaten. Megumin are on some smoke at the minute. Completely unbeaten since week 1. They face each other. That will be one hell of a week. Vanguards also have Bladesmiths. Bladesmiths have been just climbing, chilling. I reckon it'll be a tough week for them, considering Vanguards had their first loss this week against Anarchy. It's obviously a big result as Anarchy will obviously look to push on. They have Andrew as well. Andrew struggling this week, but the Christmas break could have come at a perfect time as they play Embry as well. And it will show really if this Andrew side is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and you picked exactly every matchup that I was looking at as well. And mostly the Anarchy roster facing off against Megumin and Anju. Those are going to be some interesting results after the Christmas break. But, you know, enough about Elite. Let's move on to Master as we're slowly climbing to our top tier here. And again, results for week 3. I already see a lot of draws here, but also a lot of different results. Buddha, what can you tell me about Glacies?
Well, it's the same team that I've consistently been mentioning every recap just because of the consistent dominance. Jorga 7-1, almost go for the 8-0 week there. They got, wait, did I write 7-1? My maths, okay, my maths went 6-2, 6-2. Okay, it's because when I do my notes, people love to mess with the database, so the results are mixed up. Okay, leave it alone. Either way,
it's still early for you, Buddha. We forgive you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, draw got 6-2. It's still a good week. They got a 3-1 onto Iovi, and they also got their 3-1 onto Hades as well. And Hades is, you know, it's been a team, a respectable top table team. So a very big week for them to go positive in a double series win. But the other team I picked out was actually Inferno, and my maths is correct on this one. They went 7-1, almost an 8-0 week. I see that's the team I meant it for. You know, I just said it too early. You know. But they got a 4-0 onto Iovi, and they also got a 3-1 onto Leo. So for Inferno, a big week for them. You know, a team that's been, you know, really showing performance recently and all season long. Obviously, they've had quite a few draws, as we'll see, but they get their 7-1 week, and you know, as you mentioned, there's quite a mixture of results here. We only see 2 sweeps, which is the other one, Radiant 4-0ing Serene Nara.
Yeah, and let's see if Ignis also has such a variety of results to say. Kingsman, tell me what you got.
Well, we got 1 sweep. Phoenix onto Gladiators. Big result for Phoenix. It allows them to move up as they pursue a 6-2 week, getting a draw onto Severance as well. Severance picking up 2 draws onto one onto Reus Legion as well. As Reus Legion, they're slowly making their move up the table. Don't worry, I'm noticing it. 10th in week 1, slowly making a move. But a lot of draws here. Very competitive. And it's going to be very interesting to see how close Phoenix are to the rest of the pack.
Yeah, and I hear a couple teams going 6-2, a team going 7-1. Let's take a look at the standings, how they are after this crazy week. And of course, we're going to start with Glacies yet again.
Well, it's the team that have won every single series, haven't drawn or lost in top spot Jorga with 19 wins. For winning every series, only 2 games ahead of Inferno. Inferno keeping that competition pretty close, but with only 3 wins and 3 draws. The fact that it's only 2 wins separation, that's how close the RSC format is. Every single individual game really does matter. But this is where we really see the drop-off. Normally we see that top 4, top 6 fight, but 3rd place beside us, obviously they climb up into 3rd, but 13 wins, a full sweep. They have to get just a tie with Inferno, but Inferno would have to play as well. So there's quite a separation happening there for the top 2. But alongside besides is going to be Hades in 4th with 13 wins as well, with 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses. And then Radiant climb up to 5th there with 12 wins of their own. And then in 6th for that last played spot will be Abyss with 11 of their own. But as we go after that into the kind of the bottom quarter, we can see Iovi dropped down to 7th with 11 wins. We can see Fearless Alpha, the only team to remain in their spot. They're going to be in 8th on 10 wins. And then Serene Nara, they got swept, but they still climb up into 9th on 9 wins. And we see Leo really struggling to find something. They have won 1 series, but that's all they have found. And they're going to be looking to maybe warm up after a cold Christmas break.
Yeah, and I love how every team between 3rd and 9th place can just switch places after one good week, while the top 2 is slowly settling in. And let's take a look if we have the same kind of things happening in Ignis. Kingsman, what can you tell me?
Oh, we do. And there is a whole series difference between Phoenix and Haven. Phoenix making their mark on this conference. They are 5-1 undefeated, but Haven behind them looking to push up. And well, looking at this, there's no Shisley shot. We have a 3-game difference between 3rd and 9th. Infinity on 13, Dogon on Rias Legion 4th and 5th, Illusion and Fenrir 7th, 6th and 7th on 11, and Gladiators and Severance 10 and 10. 3-game difference on 9th and 3rd. That is absolutely insane. And then Heck have that same gap to 9th. So big work for Heck here. But if that conference showed anything, a lot of movement will happen next week.
Yeah, and I'm already curious how this is gonna play out, as we're gonna take a look at the fixtures for week number 4, and maybe we have some interesting matchups already happening, already scheduled, that can already throw a little bit of chaos into those standings. Buddha, who did you pick for the Glacies?
Well, the biggest one of them all, 1st versus 2nd, the top 2 teams, Jorga versus Inferno. Literally, whoever wins that series is probably going to be looking like your number 1 team. If Jorga wins that, there's just going to be a massive lead on to 2nd, and Inferno probably, they're kind of the only team in arm's reach onto Jorga. So for the whole conference sake, everyone's going to be rooting for Inferno for that series. But Jorga, I mean, they're going to be looking to maintain a dominance. So that's probably one of the biggest matchups that we're going to see in RSC for week number 4. But obviously, there's loads of other teams to look at. There's some other big matchups to look at throughout the season and this week. We're going to have Hades as well. They're going to be looking to kind of find something against Messias there. We see 3rd versus 4th. They're tied there, so if there's a winner of that series, that could really, outbreak a settlement there in the midfield. But we're going to see Iovi. They go up against the side Abyss. Again, we see another tiebreaker team play against each other. So another big series there. So, we see one top dog matchup, but there's still many series where they really matter for their individual respectable teams.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are definitely interested in that number 1 versus number 2 seed matchup. But the rest equally as important, as like you said, it could move a lot of things in the midfield of that table. And now let's take a quick look at how the Ignis fixtures are for week number 4. Kingsman, what can you tell me?
Well, I don't want to be that guy, but considering 3rd and 9th is separated by 3 games, all of these games are important in their own way. Obviously, Phoenix Haven and Phoenix Rias Legion will be the big ones, as Phoenix are, 4 games ahead of Haven. And Heck have a big work to do, as they have Haven as well. And then obviously Phoenix Haven, that is probably your game to look for. But all around, all of these series are going to be important, as they will shift the table dramatically. Draws, wins, losses. What the table looks like this week, I believe, will be completely different to what it looks like next week.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. In Glacies, we have a lot of the midfield battle going on. And Ignis, everything can just change out of nowhere when the week 4 results roll in. But let's move on, as we're finally having some results for Premier. They had their first week. We finally get to see how those players are going to perform here in the RSC. Buddha, what can you tell me about the first Premier matchups in the Glacies conference?
Well, we see no draws and no sweeps. As you can see on your screens, every single series was a 3-1. We had Shaman Esports open up with their first victory in week 1 there. And we saw it from Solus onto Luna Esports. Panthera Esports getting theirs onto Kronos. And then Sanctuary getting theirs onto Resistance. So the fact that Premier has just had no draws, obviously, draws are something you probably would expect because it's very high level tier of Rocket League. It's probably going to be back and forth, 1 goal difference games most likely. Obviously, sweeps, you don't really see it too often, but it's possible, as you know, every individual game can still be very, very close. But the fact that Glacies has had no team to 4-0, the standings are literally just going to be a mirror. But it's a great start for the Premier season for Glacies.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And let's take a look at Ignis, as we have a little bit of a different result there, don't we, Kingsman?
We do. We have a sweep. Wicked Sailors 4-0 onto Ox Gaming. Big start for them as Wicked Sailors look to push through. Obviously, Viju Centurions hasn't been played yet. Hopefully, that is played soon. Obviously, Bola Harry getting that 3-1 onto Fearless. A good start for them against, aside obviously Larson being a big known name in RSC. Obviously, I'm sure he'll be looking to pick up with his team. And Nami Brigade getting that 3-1 onto Oblivion. And, well, it's an absolutely beautiful start for Wicked Sailors, as we'll see the table in a minute.
Yeah, and talking about the table, let's take a look at how the standings are after that first week. Now, let's start with Glacies. Not that many results to go off, but already some showings here. Buddha, what do you think?
Well, yeah, the whole top 4, obviously, all of them won their series. Obviously, they've not played each other, as it was only week 1. So the only thing to separate them for tiebreakers is the goal difference. Obviously, we see Solus, they're the ones to come out on top with that. But, you know, as I mentioned, Tavish, with how in Premier, you're not going to see too many massive score lines in individual games. And I think this really shows it for those bottom teams, 5th to 8th. You know, they lost the series 3-1, but their goal difference, at most, is only a -5. So it's showing that the competition is close individually. Every single team, they put out competition on the field. It's generally which team can ice up and who can stay consistent at closing out those games. But this is your standings for Glacies for Premier Week 1.
Yeah, and what else do you expect, Buddha? It's, you know, most of these guys, they play in the bubble scene as well. So they know how to play under pressure. And it's just the better guy wins at a time. As we're gonna take a look at Ignis with Kingsman. How do the standings look after this week 1 result?
Well, Wicked Sailors being the only team to sweep and a +10 goal difference. Oh my, will they be absolutely happy with that? Obviously, Bola and Nami Brigade being just behind on 3 wins. Oblivion and Fearless obviously getting a win, but a -5 and a -6 as Centurions Viju not played their game, but Ox Gaming failing to get a game and their -10 goal difference will leave them bottom of the table, obviously with some work to do to catch back up.
Yeah, and obviously we're hoping that Centurion's Viju result will come in soon enough so we can update the standings even more. But definitely Ox Gaming, not the start they were hoping for. Wicked Sailors, definitely the start they were hoping for. As we're going to take a look at the fixtures for week number 2. And Buddha, you can take it away.
Well, for the Glacies Conference, you're going to have Luna Esports go up against the side Team Serene. You're going to have Panthera Esports go up against Charbon Esports, the 2 teams who won their series. So it's going to be a matchup to see who can stay in that top 4. We're going to see Sanctuary go up against Solus as well. Their Resistance will be going up against the side of Kronos. And obviously, just a reminder for obviously maybe viewers or spectators, the Premier tier, you only play 1 series a week. So if you thought Prospect to Master standings are close week in and week out, oh, you're in for a surprise for Premier. It can shift any week at all.
Yes, it does. And, you know, I'm already excited to see if we're going to see a little bit of movement in that top side of the standings, or if we maybe get a draw result here in the Premier. And now let's take a look at Ignis, at how those fixtures are for week number 2.
Well, you have Centurions, Wicked Sailors. Obviously, Centurions not played their game yet. We haven't seen what they're capable of, but everyone knows Wicked Sailors getting that 4-0 will be looking good. And Fearless can have a regain week as they play Ox. A very good low table fight there. And Oblivion, Viju, Oblivion needed, I think, getting beaten 1 and 3-1. And Viju, obviously, we haven't seen yet. So more to come on them. And Nami Brigade and Bola both winning their series. So this will certainly separate both sides near the top of the table, and it's way closer, only one series instead of two. So there you go, there's your Ignis Premier fixtures.
Yes, there are. And now let's take a look at the franchise standings, because obviously we had all the teams and all the tiers, but now let's take a look at how the franchises are doing during this entire RSC season. Buddha, what can you tell me about the bottom 10?
Well, Sanctuary in 20th will be on 44 wins, but a team close as well. Team Serene in 19th will be on 50, and we have two teams head-to-head here. Shadow Esports and Luna Esports sharing for a tied 17th spot there with 18th with 52 wins. But only one win ahead is going to be Symbiote in 16th. They have risen up a little bit, maybe looking to slowly bring the comeback for the franchise on 53 wins there. The Shaman Esports will be dropping down to 15th on 55 wins. We see a three-way tie here for the franchise standings. Chrome Research, the only team in the bottom 10 to stay in their spot, in 14th. We'll see Illusory dropping down as well on 55 in 13th. The Panthera Esports in 12th on 56. And finally, System of Solaris dropping down to 11th. But 7 teams dropped down. So I assume top 10 is going to be spicy.
Yeah, and one thing I definitely noticed there was Shadow being on the minus 81 goal differential and Sanctuary on minus 91. So definitely a lot of goals scored against them in the past couple of weeks. But now, let's take a look at the top 10. And Kingsman Gas, what can you tell me?
Well, Ox Gaming, they sit with a 50% win rate. 60 and 60. That is impressive. But 3 games ahead of them, Ignite. Obviously, they moved down the table, but not complaining. Might have Hades have not seen any more success. They were near the top at week one. Obviously, that says week 1. We all know it's week 3. Don't worry, it's fine. But above them, or tied with them, you have Visionary, new franchise, and they are doing well on the scene. But above them, you have Fort Templar. They were near the top as well, as they clearly aren't finding any faith towards these weeks. But 2 teams that have moved up from the start. There we go. Week 3, it is coming back. Don't worry. But I believe it was Fearless. Yes, it was. Both rising from the bottom. Fearless and Green Phoenix. Fearless really making the rebound. I'm sure my Buddha here will be very proud. And Green Phoenix, well, they were near the bottom. Another new franchise, absolutely exceeding expectations. Speaking of that, Valkyrie Knights 72 wins, 5 ahead of Green Phoenix, and only 1 behind Waifu Fan Club in 73rd. I believe they top the teams from Glacies at the moment, as Waifu and Forge both from Ignis, and Forge take that 2-win lead on the 2 Waifu as they remain top with a plus 86 goal difference.
Plus 86 goal difference. That is just insane to compare that. The bottom team in the franchise standing has a minus 91. So the difference there is not that big. But 3 new franchises here in RSC in that top 10 standings. That's beautiful to see. Like, we obviously we have a lot of well-known franchises here that can always stay in the top, but it's always nice to see the new franchises putting in a little bit of effort as well, getting those good players, and just saying to everyone like, hey, you're well-known, but we can move up as well. But none of those results matter if you don't have beautiful players on your team, and some of them score pretty nice goals. So let's take a quick look at all the clip of the week submissions, and let's see how nasty mechanically some of these players are. Man, what a play from almost everyone. I saw a lot of flip resets and even a pancake there at the end. And, you know, Kingsman, I'm gonna throw to you first. Which one did you think was that clip of the week?
Well, obviously, I gotta shout out Aussie Prospect being in there, doing it for the prospects. But favorite clip had to be Smashies at the end. The pancake, just something you don't see regularly in league play. People barely hit it in casual rank, but to do that in league play, in the biggest stage of all, is, well, amazing.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. Definitely Smashy with the pancake. Beautifully done there. Buddha, what do you think?
Well, obviously me and Kingsman, personal bias to our own franchise as players, but, you know, got to respect every single goal that was in that video. All very talented players, but also I don't want to follow the boat and pick the same as Kingsman. Also has a great goal smashy, but I'm gonna go with Ember. You know, I just like it. You know, you get the reset, got to see them boom, bing and bong. Something I can't do, so it's something that I love to see. I'm pretty sure I saw more resets in that whole video than I've scored in my career. So either way, it exceeds my expectations.
Well, I can definitely tell you, almost every result, every goal scored there is already more than I've done in my entire career. But, you know, I gotta say, Smashy with that pancake is definitely a beautiful goal. But if we're gonna check with Twitch chat, they were gonna say Ember as well. Ooh. For that clip of the week. So, Buddha, yeah, correct. I guessed it correctly. Maybe let's see them all again, or maybe see the one from Ember again, and show everyone why that is the clip of the week. And there you had it, another run of all those beautiful clips, and Ember with clip of the week. And you know, a clip of the week is beautiful, but let's see what if we have any fail of the week submissions, because those are always the best. Last week we had a caster fail. Let's see what we have this week.
Pick up. Swap. Open.
Sorry.
Oh, fail of the week.
And you know, Kingsman, what happened?
Alright, so game 4 in a must-win series. Oh, beautiful kickoff from my team. And, you know, I just seem to sky it over, it doesn't even hit the crossbar. It just goes over. Clearly, you can see my shooting has been on peak performance. But don't worry, we did go and win the game. Even if you look close enough, you'll see Buddha in that fail of the week. Not failing, but he was in there somewhere.
Wow.
No, what can I say?
Wow.
I mean, I don't blame you for missing. You see Buddha's name, you're like, whoa, big boy can't score. You know what I mean? So it's fair enough. But I got another appearance.
Gotta agree with you there. Well, it's definitely first to see Buddha's name just pop up out of nowhere. And, you know, let's watch it again, because Kingsman, it's just a beautiful clip. We have to watch this again.
Pick up. Swap.
On that.
Open.
Sorry.
Oh, fail of the week.
Yeah, you definitely sent that ball flying in every direction except the net. And also the guest appearance for Buddha there. But, you know, now we had our clip and fail of the week. Now let's move on to what everyone obviously waiting for, our weekly rewards. Let's see how the players did in standing, not only in the play and in the standings, but also who did the best. Buddha, I'm gonna give it to you first for prospect.
Well, your MVP is going to be Abdul, 548.63 points per game, but that's not the only thing he could do. He's your finisher as well, with 2.13 goals per game as well. But finally, someone from a different team for your striker is going to be Zombie Killer. He's got the shooting accuracy for zombies and also for on the pitch, 72.73% shooting accuracy. But your playmaker, I'm going to say, is it's either Lucy or Lucci. I do not know. I could have butchered that, but either way, gets on there with 1.75 assists per game, helping that winning team. But finally, your savior is going to be Maraconda with 2.5 saves per game. I mean, stats, I'm sure they improve every week. They put up some numbers.
Yeah, they definitely do. A lot of numbers there. And Maraconda being a savior, that's beautiful. Kingsman Gas, what can you tell me about the challenger?
Well, what a name. Fat Fish Tank from Team Serene. 585 points per game. He's also your finisher with 1.75. He's drawn with Simsy and Arconix though. So 50-50. And your FA, Dragon90210. He is from the FA. It's 100% shooting accuracy. Is going to get him striker. Your playmaker will be Quarentra, though, with 1.5, drawn with Potato Head. I'm sure he'll be annoyed he's not on there. And your saviour, actually a fearless player, does make it. It will be Torchic with the legendary 2.75 saves.
Yeah, man, again, what a beautiful stat. A finisher, everyone being tied. Let's move on to rival. Buddha, up to you.
Oh, look at that number.
Oh
we got Ollie from Sentinels, 615 points per game. But even second and third are putting up numbers as well, Marshmallow Derp and Yogsy. But for your finisher, it is going to be Marshmallow Derp with 2.38 goals per game. But your striker is going to be Smeralix, 80% shooting accuracy. And we see Potato in second, up in the rival tier. Let's go. But your playmaker is going to be Mac with 1.43 assists per game from the Norns roster. But finally, your savior is going to be Ollie again with 3.5 saves per game. No wonder why he got so many points. That man is a brick wall.
Yeah, Ollie definitely putting in the effort to make sure his team is not losing. And let's move on to Elite.
And your MVP will be Halo with 567 points per game. And your finisher will be QZ Quasi, 2.5 saves per game. Your striker, Crayon, 64.29% shooting percent. I'll get him striker. Swift Fox, 1.5 saves, tied with assists, even tied with Dan. I'll get him playmaker. And MOH, he is a rival FA and he's subbed up for an elite game, and he's still got elite savior, 3.25 saves a game. That is impressive.
Crazy to think that a player who's subbing up also gets the savior for that next week. But let's move on to Master. Buddha, what do you think of these standings?
Whoa, your MVP is going to be Miller with a 522.13 points per game. Makes a reappearance again. Your finisher with 1.88 goals per game. And your striker with 65.22% shooting accuracy. Mimical coming close in both of those. But your playmaker is going to be tied with a 1.38 assists per game. But your savior, 3.25. The number is here again, but it's going to be Harvey from the Symbiotes franchise for the Master tier with just over that 3 average. And these stats, they get spicier and spicier.
Yeah, and I was worried for a sec that Miller was going to take the entire week for himself. But let's move on to Premier. Kingsman Gas, all up to you.
Yes, well, Morgs174 will be your MVP. A Puppy will be your finisher of 2 saves, and very impressive shooting percentage. Apoppy's also managed to get 133.33 shooting accuracy. How he does it, I'm going to need to get, after my open net miss, I'm going to need to get some tips from him. Doing that. But Zamberg will be your playmaker of 1.75 assists, and Wuzian will be your savior of 2.75, but 133% shooting accuracy. Apoppy, you need to give me some tips, my man.
Yeah, I think Apoppy can go into coaching after this season and just show everyone how it is done. But those are your players of the week for each tier. Now let's move on for the team of the week. Because, you know, we have players of the week, but team of the week is just as important. And Buddha, what can you tell me?
Well, for week number 3, Abdul from the Limousine roster is going to be your player from the Prospect tier. Going up into Challenger from the Elves roster is going to be Luke MD99 representing Challenger. But for Rival, it's going to be Jax. We saw him in the Clip of the Week video from the Yoruba roster. He makes it for the Rival tier. But from the Elite, Megumin Cole, it's going to be Minty on Team of the Week this week for Elite. But for Master, it's going to be Miller. You saw his name plenty of times for the weekly awards, and, well, you're going to see him again one last time from the Radiant roster. But finally, Apoppy from the Premier tier from Wicked Sailors. I mean, when you're a shooter accuracy like that, surely you're on Team of the Week. He doesn't miss.
No, and Apoppy and Miller were definitely expected to be here after those incredible standings in Player of the Week. And, of course, Minty, Jax, Luke, and Abdul, they put in great performances this week to earn this spot. And man, I'm still confused on how Apoppy got 133.33%. That is just still stuck in my head. But before we move on, before we actually close off here, obviously a big thank you to the sponsors who make RSC possible. Sanctuary, Shaman, Synthesized Design, Dead Dinosaur. Everyone putting in a little bit of effort to make sure we have a prize pool. And HyperX helping us putting out amazing giveaways. And of course, before we forget, we have a store on Gamers Apparel. You can get the best of the best merch there. So make sure to head there, because it's the 2022 collection. 2022 is almost over. Maybe there's going to be a 2023 collection. And while you're at it, also make sure to follow us on our socials. RSC_EU for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch. And at RSC EU on YouTube. Man, that was the recap here for week number 3. Buddha, Kingsman Guess, any final thoughts?
Well, just a little reminder for the viewers at home. Obviously, we are now, as we said, multiple times on the results roundup. Christmas break is here. Obviously, you probably won't see a stream. Not that I know of. I don't know if there's any, events or anything going on during the Christmas break. But say there is no streams in the Christmas break. I'm not sure. We won't see you until the next week of league play. So I just want to make sure everyone has a good Christmas, has a good, time off. Obviously, players, they're going to grind. Some players are just going to take this time to chill. So it's going to be interesting to see how week 4 goes, to see if we see upsets.
Yeah, I'm in the same as you there, Buddha. Week 4 will be very different. Obviously, some, as you said, taking a break. Some take the time to grind. Obviously, off school, everything. All the factors align for the players that want to go crazy over Christmas and the players that want to have a break over Christmas. So week 4, it'll be like the start of a new season. Which teams develop and which teams stay strong. That will all to come. That is all to come.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you. Some players will grind, some players will take a rest, as they've well deserved after already 3 weeks of league play, and we had the preseason. But that is it for probably this year. I agree with Buddha. I don't know if there's going to be any secret stream coming around Christmas or anything. But for now, everyone enjoy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and already enjoy the new year. And we'll see you in week 4 of League Play in 2023.